Not many photographers spend a lot of time making environmental portraits. It takes a lot of research, planning, lighting, and editing. So, when someone keeps doing it, it usually means one of two things. Either it's a personal project, or they convince the client that it was worth doing. And that's something I admire. There are a few photographers I look up to. Some of them use medium format cameras, assistants, and big lighting setups. But don't let that fool you. If I lent them my Sony a7C II and a couple of Godot flashes, they would still produce world-class work. If you're curious, I will leave a link to the gear I use in the description. I'm back into photography after a 5-year break with a meaningful goal: to document the workspaces of people who are remnants of a bygone era, like an aquatint artist working with century-old techniques, or the owner of a DVD video club still open in the streaming age. I need some inspiration for this long-term project, so I figured it wouldn't hurt to revisit the work of photographers I have followed over the years. They all have one thing in common: they use artificial light to create environmental portraits. I'm sharing their work for educational purposes, but the copyright of their images belong to their respective owners. My name is Jose Alcoy, and on this channel I share tips on off-camera flash photography. You can grab my free 2-light setup guide for dramatic portraits. The link is in the description. For a long time, I've been following a very accomplished commercial photographer from the Netherlands. He's also built an impressive portfolio of environmental portraits for his personal projects, like this one shot during a festival in Spain next to my hometown. He shoots with Phase 1 medium format cameras and is an ambassador for Broncolor, a premium lighting brand. I'm talking about Jeroen Nieuwhuis. His goal is that the light appears natural to the untrained eye. To illustrate this, you've probably heard of Wim Hof, the Iceman. Jeroen photographs him using just one octabox on a cloudy day, and you'd hardly recognize it as off-camera flash at first glance. But back to what really interests me: environmental portraits that spotlight people in their workplaces. This is where Jeroen's work really speaks to me. From his series portraying a renowned violinist in his element, to his documentation of traditional Dutch windmills, or his portraits of a hat maker in Italy. For over 4 years, Jeroen also worked on a personal project documenting men across the US who lived like the old mountain men. It meant taking many transatlantic flights over long weekends to keep the project moving. The result is a beautiful coffee table book that helped preserve this rich cultural heritage. One day, I'd love to turn my long-term project into a book or even a series, and examples like this are truly inspiring. Before switching to Sony full frame, I used to shoot with Fujifilm crop sensor and 3 fantastic prime lenses. It's no surprise that one of my sources of inspiration is an official Fujifilm X photographer. Not many professionals call themselves environmental portrait photographers, but Jonathan Bielaski is one of them. He doesn't share new work often, but his archives are a goldmine, especially the images in his Fujifilm gallery, where you can see the lenses and settings he used. That is, after doing some math, or let's be real, using ChatGPT to convert medium format and APS-C values into full frame terms. Take the Fujifilm GFX 50S for example, a sensor larger than full frame but smaller than traditional medium format. In this image, a 63mm lens becomes a 50mm equivalent. As a Fujifilm X photographer, John also shoots with crop sensor cameras. and he has created some powerful images with the compact X100F and other bodies from the X series. But I have to say, I drew over the look he gets with medium format, like these images shot on the GFX line. It really helps separate the subject from the background and gives everything a more three-dimensional cinematic feel, great for making someone pop while still showing the environment. That said, medium format also means a higher price tag, bulky gear, and often slower autofocus. That's why I landed on full frame. I think it's the right compromise for what I do. As a journalist, I love when a strong story is matched by thoughtful photography. Too often, newspaper assignments are rushed. Photographers show up, glance around, pose the subject, and move on. That's why it stands out when someone takes the time to understand the person. Their connection to the space sets up lighting that complements the natural light and carefully post-processes the image to give it a distinct look. There are photographers doing this well all over the world, and one that I have been following over the years is Duncan Elliott. He's a UK-based portrait and documentary photographer whose work has appeared in some of the world's most respected newspapers. Back in the day when hashtags were still a thing, I discovered the work of most of the photographers in this video through the environmental portrait hashtag on Instagram. I remember a photoshoot that Duncan did with a guitar maker in Spain. That one really pulled me in. I wanted to know everything, whether he lit the background or just balanced ambient light with strobes. Over the years, he's kept producing solid environmental portraits. Okay, I can't wrap up this video without mentioning another European photographer. His work on several personal projects, including during his travels through Mongolia. But what really draws me in is how he lights interiors. He mixes flash with natural light in a way that feels smooth. I'm talking about Stephan Ortmanns, based in Germany. There's one shoot he did during the COVID lockdowns I keep returning to. It perfectly captures that quiet, intimate atmosphere. And if you're building a mood board, it absolutely belongs there. When we feel frustrated that we're not getting the results we want, it's tempting to think our gear is not good enough. One more reason I appreciate Stephan is that he uses Sony full-frame cameras, same as me. But I've also been inspired by plenty of photographers using crop sensor setups. So the next time you feel unsure about your gear, just remember, it's not what you have, it's what you make out of it. Do you have any other photographers or references I should know about? Drop them in the comments, I'd love to check them out. If you're into dramatic portraits, don't miss my free tool light setup guide in the description. Make sure to subscribe for more tips on off-camera flash and environmental portraits. And if you're wondering whether budget gear can still deliver, watch this next video where I prove you don't need anything fancy, just a simple softbox to create powerful photo documentary work.